Hey there, church. I'm seated at one of the high top tables in the gathering room that, if you can't tell, I really like. I think it's just great that we have this space that the nominating committee gathered in last week, and across the way, we had a women's Bible study that was meeting. I suspect that they're going to move in here because it's just so nice to be able to sit on couches and to experience that kind of home style setting, and we really do want this space to feel like a home of sorts, even for people who don't think of themselves as members of CPC, but engage important parts of their lives within this building, our friends in the community. And so last night, the nominating committee was listening for God's voice as to who God is calling into leadership for CPC in coming years. Across the way, there were women listening to Scripture and to one another about the life that God holds out and the stuff of life that's there as we live it. And we are going to be gathering in this space, at least some of us, in 2 Sundays on October 16th. We're going to have our first Journey of Promise Bible study, the journey of a people called by God. And the heart of Bible study is, of course, listening. It's not mastering the material. It's not just knowing the story. It's about listening to Scripture and listening to our world, listening to our lives, and expecting that God is going to meet us in the intersection of where we listen to the Bible and the kind of life that we are bringing. And so as CPC, we, along with churches all over North America, are in a spot where we're listening to what it means to be church as we live on in this moment following the pandemic. We're going to be asking 3 questions over the next number of months in this journey of promise. The questions are, who have we been? Who are we now? And who is God calling us to be? Those are questions that were part of Abram's journey. Abram, who became Abraham, who really had to leave everything when God called him, everything that he had been, to embrace a new identity for who he was now. Someone promised a blessing and promised God's companionship, but also sent on a journey that he set out on, and not knowing where he was going to go. And so part of his story was this question, who is God calling me to be? And it wasn't something that he knew exactly when he set out, but something that he discovered along the way, as he discovered his own frailties and sometimes his faltering and unfaithfulness, but in the midst of it also discovered God's goodness, God's constancy, God's provision, and God's faithfulness to keeping the covenant and moving him toward the blessing. So I really encourage you to embrace the journey of promise Bible study. On Abram, we're going to have a shortened worship service on the 16th and the 23rd, and then again on October 6th and 13th. We'll gather for our Bible studies. Some of us will come downstairs. Others of us, if it's better that we stay upstairs, there will be an upstairs group as well. We'll share coffee, and we'll listen to this remarkable call that God gives to Abram that is so full of grace, but also so full of challenge. Not the sort of grace that doesn't ask anything of us, but the sort of grace that comes to us and enables to live a life that is so much bigger than we could live on our own. So as CPC, God keeps calling us to that life, a God-sized life that is full of loving God, sharing relationships, serving others from the heart of Christ. We'll keep on hearing more about the journey of promise, but the next step that we're all going to take together is to study Scripture together and the call of Abraham and what it says about God's call to us now.